Are you ready to dive into the underworld? Like it or not, eclipse season is here. I'm Megan Mermaid, and this is your energy update for the lunar eclipse in Virgo. And this message is relevant from March 13th through March 28th. The lunar eclipse in Virgo is huge. It's literally unearthing everything. So all of the shadow stuff that needs to be eclipsed out is coming up to the surface, to be looked at, to be witnessed. But it's not something that we have to fear, but it is something that we need to approach with discernment, because not only are we in eclipse season, but Venus is retrograde, and literally like a day after this eclipse, Mercury goes retrograde. So there's so much up in the air energy, and dealing with that uncertainty is going to be one of the most important things. So this is not like a regular full moon where it's a time to release or you set intentions. Eclipses are just surrendering, literally just surrendering and being like, okay, I am open and available to the highest timeline. And I trust that no matter what ups and downs or roller coasters of emotions that arise within this moment, that by the end of this, I will be back on shore in the right timeline, in the right environment. So in the meantime, it's like, how do you sit with yourself of what needs to happen without letting it sweep you up into the chaos? This is a total lunar eclipse, and it's the first of three. So we are headed into this trajectory where we are having these very deep moments where we dive into the underworld, and we have to come face to face with our individual and our collective shadows. So the moon is going to be opposing Saturn and Neptune. So Saturn is like this glue that holds everything together. It's that tough love energy of needing to be practical, needing to be realistic, needing to do things step by step and dot all of your I's and cross all of your T's. And then Neptune is completely the opposite. It's all about this idealism, which can sometimes suck us into fantasy or delusion and keep us in the fantasy rather than actually manifesting in the material what it is that we want. So this is kind of like a meeting of the real and the fantasy. It's a meeting of the practical and the ideal. It's a space where we have to walk in between the worlds, and we have to clear out everything that is not the thing. So the North Node is in Pisces. So this lunar eclipse is in Virgo. The shadow side of Virgo can be looking for flaws. It can be perfectionism. It can get stuck in the details. So this is really a moment where you're just being asked to flow. That if you feel overwhelmed or if you feel like that inner critic voice is very loud, this is that moment where you just have to sit with it and ask, like, okay, like, what do I need to release right now? And how do I step into a space of flow? But Virgo is also really great about going into a situation, an experience, and cleaning it out, getting rid of the clutter, getting down to the nitty gritty. So in a lunar eclipse, whatever has been hidden will come to the light. So you may notice that there is more chaos. There is more craziness that's happening both individually and collectively. So it's like, how are you going to keep your center in all of that? Because yes, we have the lunar eclipse, but that's just the opening act. We have 2 weeks where we're headed into the underworld, where we really have to make sure that we're focusing on our self-care and that we're mastering our mindset, we're nourishing our bodies, and we are present, because that Piscean energy that is in the background is going to want to cause you to disassociate, especially if it feels too much or too uncertain. So how are you going to stay grounded? That is your task. The moon is also trine to Uranus, which means that there are possibilities for really good surprises. And what I feel like is going to happen is that whatever darkness, whatever deception, whatever challenges that you've been experiencing that feels unjust, that feels unfair, those things are going to come to the light. But your goal is not to be the karmic retribution. It's not to go looking to find the faults in others. It's really about maintaining your stability and your groundedness and just observing and watching what happens and allowing the universe to do the dirty work for you. So these unexpected surprises could lead you in a totally different timeline. So first you got to figure out, like, what do I want? And then what limiting beliefs are keeping me from what I want? Because the lunar eclipse will highlight that. But then the next step is to ask yourself, like, okay, if a door is closing, if it doesn't feel like something is working out, if it feels like there's a roadblock or a setback, how can I see this as something that's helping me so that I can pivot, so that I can move into a different direction and trust that that is the actual thing that will make me happy? So this Virgo energy is having to just like shake us of what we think we want, of what we think will make us happy. And instead, we have to trust the universe is putting on the true path of flow, maybe somewhere we never even thought we would be. So I'm going to pull a few cards today to get an overall message of this moon and what to expect when we're expecting the unexpected. Luckily, with this trine to Uranus, it means they're good surprises. In the midst of the underworld, it's like there's good surprises. We have believe. The mermaid empowerment for believe is I believe it and receive it. And I love this. It's the darkest card in the mermaid empowerment oracle deck. So it's saying that, like, when we can't see the path, we have to hold to that truth that we believe and therefore we will receive, that what we want is happening, even if first we have to clear out all of the stuff that's been keeping us from that thing. And that could mean the end of relationships. It could mean the end of jobs. It could be saying no to situations. It could be reestablishing your routine or your life. It really depends on where this eclipse is hitting in your chart. But we also have focus. The mermaid empowerment for focus is I focus only on what I want to create. So the energy of Virgo is very focused. It's very meticulous. It's very detail oriented. But the thing is that we can focus on the flaws. We can focus on what's not happening, and we can expand and amplify those energies. Or we can focus instead on how we want to feel, where we want to go, how we can be present in this moment and trust everything else will work itself out. And also to just let go of the idea of control, because really the only control that we have is the control of how we respond to situations. We'll never be able to control what's happening in the outside world. Never. And the harder that we try, the more fatigued we're going to feel, because that idea of control is just a way for our psyche, our ego, to feel like it has some type of power. But the true power comes from surrender. And then we have confidence. The mermaid empowerment for confidence is it feels so good to sparkle and shine. Now we are in the middle of Venus retrograde. And so confidence can sometimes feel challenging, right? It's like maybe we don't feel our best, maybe issues of money or attractiveness or relationships or all those Venetian things are kind of on the table for us to look at and reevaluate. But we have to have confidence not only in ourselves, but confidence in the universe, confidence in our path, confidence in following our heart. So from the Starseed Oracle deck, we have the Sea of Mintonka, seeing potential, bringing unconscious to light. This is so powerful. I feel like these are the words that are really going to bring us into the energy of the eclipse, bringing the unconscious to light. So it might feel challenging for a minute, right? Because you've had this foundation in some way, shape, or form, and it worked to some degree, but on a deeper level, you know that something about it was not right. It didn't sit well with your spirit, but for whatever reason, you kept going along with it. This unconscious thing is going to come to light because it needs to come to light. And it might mean that for a moment, those fears and that terror of what happens if this foundation is shaken, what happens if this thing is not the same anymore, how do you deal with that? That's what we're going to be learning. And so we also have the Ace of Swords, we have the Five of Wands, and we have the Three of Swords. So I feel like this is like maintaining your truth, no matter what types of power struggles or sorrow or pain that you feel. Here's another thing too, especially if you're very empathic, you can feel the pain You can feel the grief of the people that are going through situations right now where they have harmed you, hurt you, or acted in an unjust way, and they're experiencing the consequences of their actions. As an empath, and I believe it was Aldous Huxley that said, that an intellectual mind is able to hold two truths at the same time. And I feel like this is what that Ace of Swords is saying, where it's like we can hold the truth that, yes, we can have compassion for the people that are experiencing their own karmic retribution, but that doesn't mean that we allow bad behavior in, because we have to hold strong to our boundaries. That is often the challenge of tough love, is creating that boundary for people in your life that have acted unjustly, that have harmed you or hurt you, or harmed or hurt other people. And recognizing that the tough love is sometimes having to say no, even if that choice will create pain for that other person. Three of Swords also means that, there's going to be sorrow to feel, to process. There's going to be power struggles. Everybody is feeling this. There's such an intensity in the air right now. So it's like, how do you maintain your composure? And how do you continue to listen to what is in your heart rather than feel pressured? Because again, don't allow the power struggles to take you away from your truth. And if you can, with any choice or decision, don't rush into action right now, because we're not even going to know how all of this energy is kind of going to come into a new space and a new awareness and a new flow until like mid-April, like after the 18th of April, when Venus goes direct. So this is not a time where you want to be making big life decisions. And if somebody or something in your field is causing you to feel pressured to make those choices, that's when you have to sit with like, okay, where is that part of me that feels like I have to do this thing to people please or to keep the peace or whatever it is. Finally, we have faith. Your prayers are manifesting. Remain positive and follow your guidance. We've got to trust that we are being led to the right space, even if it feels challenging or discombobulating for a moment. This is a season, and things will come into a new normal, into a new space of understanding, of truth. And it will be a timeline that is more comfortable for you, where you actually resonate with people that support you, in a space where you can thrive. But we can't get to a journey without going through it. It's like the only way to get through the storm is to go straight through it. So take care of yourself. Continue to do whatever practices nurture and nourish you, whether that's meditation or walking in nature or movement practices. Take care of your body, all of those things that you can control. You can control how you're thinking, you can control how you're responding, and you can control how you're taking care of your body, your heart, your mind, and your spirit. That's about it. That's our scope of control. Everything else, it's like, okay, allow the chaos to be there and be that still space of grounded embodiment. You can do this, and bring the unconscious to light. Allow it, welcome it, rather than pushing it away. Go straight through it, because this is where you're going to gain your courage, and it's your belief and your focus that will get you to the other side. If you want support, you can book a mystical mentorship session, a galactic channeled reading. I'm also offering a special for pre-recorded Venus retrograde readings that will give you a personalized report of what is happening in these retrogrades and eclipse portals, so that you can better navigate the blueprint of what is being activated. I love you so much. Have a beautiful day. Thanks for being here with me.